Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second edition of Replay of the Week. Many of you may be wondering, Enzo, what the fuck happened to Replay of the Week? This was started months ago. Well, due to some challenges with my doctoral coursework and other things, it got delayed, but we are jumping back in with our 3 finalists for the second edition, which was submitted a couple of months ago. So before we reveal our winner, we are going to first go through our 3 final games. So let's start. So our first game is featuring Groot from the NL clan. Groot has an impeccable game here on World, overcoming incredible odds, and you'll see what happens. So Groot's starting off here in Brazil with a Brazil spawn. I love the Brazil spawn, classic Brazil. So he's basically just doing his thing. He likely pieced out with some of these other individuals in South America and basically starts heading up to North America, picking a fight with Sealy Boy right here. Looking at the map dynamics, Groot aptly recognizes the challenges down here in Argentina, in Antarctica, and basically goes for the lowest density player, picking up some more troops. But as we can see on the map, things are looking pretty cursed. They look like it's pretty much over with player 493 taking the crown, taking the lead, and really, there should be no chance this game. It should be over. Groot, nonetheless, is still trying. So let's show you what happened. So at this point, we can see Groot should have no chance. Player 493 should just boat him. That should be it. But Groot is determined, and he comes up with a plan. For many of you, this may look like, oh my god, I can't do anything. And what Groot is going to do is he's going to start doing boat defense. You can see these different boats coming out, and Groot is doing this right after the Osmanli patch, which, so you know, boats defending at this point was really difficult with all the spam. And what he is doing is he is taking a bite out of Australia while maintaining the boat defense. He does not get everything perfectly, but as you can see right here, he is managing a numerous number of boats from this player 493. Nonetheless, 493 really needed to push in. Groot pushes him back out, basically just trying to maintain this boat border, and he now has crown and an opportunity to carry this game. So Groot stabilizes, chills out, waits with this additional land from Antarctica, and basically sends some troops over here to Scandinavia, pushing in, hitting the boat, and because of their determination, they are able to come back from basically like 70% down with innovation. Basically, this reminds me of one of my greatest games, which at some point I'll have to talk about. It is smart, it is intelligent, excellent win, Groot, from basically coming back against what seemed like impossible odds. And with that, we will jump on to our next game. We have a ridiculous game from Blizzarss. The game may not all depend on Blizzarss, but damn man, this is a game to fucking remember. And fun fact, I was actually in this game when it was played. So Blizzarsss here is spawning here. Looks like it's around Democratic Republic of Congo. Could be a little north, not totally sure. Basically looking at the map, we already see what is happening. Juviole and EU and Black Team are dominating the map. They have controlled Western and Northern Africa, and this looks like it pretty much should be over. We see Sheta here basically trying to hit Juviole with low density, but there's not enough troops. Juviole pushes him out, and it looks like it should be over. But Blizzarsss, they do not give up. They work in their zone, they take out EU, they're trying to do their best. Basically also boating up here to get increased prospects. And at this point, we gotta slow it down to see what the hell happened. So as we can see, this game should pretty much be over. EU could vote for peace, it should be good, but Blizzarsss is gonna keep on playing. There is a border here on Juviole, but there should be ways to make this work. And what happens is Irene starts full sending, and Juviole donates all of his troops to him for some reason. Not sure why, and it gets up to 79, 80%. But now Juviole has no troops and is basically doomed because EU did not calculate correctly what they were doing. Blizzarsss stays calm, he gets crown, but it's still not over because it's 70%. And Juviole full sends again. But it's not enough. Blizzarsss just chills. EU is basically fucking melted down, doing all the full sends, and Blizzarsss gets through to Testicles, who has basically donated all their troops, and at this point in time, EU doesn't even have enough land. They literally could have done almost nothing. If they were bots, they likely would have won. But at this point, Blizzarsss gets crowned, and he has more troops than anyone on the match. Basically, no one else can do anything at this point. Juviole and EU threw this game in the toilet. An absolute nuclear meltdown. This was like, I don't even know, this might have been a 300 or 400 point contest. I actually jumped back in the game and somehow saw, like, after leaving, oh my god, what the hell happened? And Blizzarss taunts people. My god, man, what a fucking meltdown. GG's, that's entry 2. And for our third entry, we have an impeccable game from OG Kees taking on Corgi Circus on stream. So in this game, we see Kees spawning down here in Eastern Australia, and he is taking on about 49 Corgis along with about 17 other OG members. OG are concentrating their troops into Kees as he cleans up his zone, and as we can see, when Corgi gets about 50%, the game often looks over. But what we can see is that Kees is being determined. He's basically pushing back. He is starting to use a strategy of snaking through the Corgis, basically going for lower density players. It still looks pretty difficult with people tunneling on Kees. Nonetheless, in this position, Kees stays calm. He's getting support from basically the donation base that he has with OG, and other individuals are coordinating. One of the reasons why the Corgi block is often so effective is that different players end up fighting each other on different parts of the map, or it is that Corgi is just always pushing out and other teams are kind of infighting amongst each other. So Kees, what he is doing is he is just staying calm. He's basically slowly pushing down people who have lower density, and it turns out that the red team ends up helping out. And at this point of the game, things have started to look really good. Corgi has likely called it at this point in time. I hope this is not some type of blaming dynamic we often see on stream. And Kees is starting to have to think about pivots with Soul going in and wreaking havoc on this blue backline. Effectively, Kees gets boated, likely could have done a little bit better with looking out for boats, basically maintaining that border so this guy up here with whatever this is does not get through. And Kees starts to pivot to red, given that they now hit 50%. Effectively, Kees is going to be slow, effective, and efficient. That is basically the theme of this game, taking on a huge number of players. And fortunately for Kees, he's dealing with randoms, and randoms are random. You don't know what you can expect. There needed to be a pivot from Soul earlier. Kees gets the upper hand and basically pushes down Soul, taking this one. 49 Corgis. We've seen that the stakes have risen a lot with Corgi Circus having streams with, I've seen like 120 plus players. Nonetheless, this is very much impressive from OG as a collective and Kees for carrying this and being calm and collective through these dynamics. So bravo to Kees. Let's jump on to award our winner. But before we do that, we're first going to give congratulations to Groot on an awesome game for third place. Groot's game demonstrates overcoming impossible seeming odds using excellent tactics and great boat defense. However, Groot, I think the other games were just a little bit of a step up. And now it is the moment to crown our winner. So drum roll, please. This week, I have decided to nominate both Kees and Blizzarss as co-winners of Replay of the Week. Kees, your game is an awesome example of taking down the circus in a great collective effort from OG and on your part in navigating the complexities of that game with send levels snaking through their back line. Blizzarss, your game is impressive. But I don't know what to even say because there's the other way of framing it as a meltdown, but we're not going to harp on people messing up. But that is one of the most ridiculous games I've seen. In any case, thanks everyone for watching. If you want to stay tuned for episode 3, be sure to subscribe. And if you have a game that you want to submit, be sure to join our Discord. The link and instructions for submission are found in the video description. I'll see you all next week.